Okay, here's example number 4 on page 169. It's like the problems that are assigned to you. So if I look at a number that's in base 5 and I'm looking to put it into base 10, I need to remember what those places represent. So this represents 5 to the 0, 5 to the 1, and 5 to the second. Okay, so 5 to the 0 is 1 because anything to the 0 power is 1. 5 to the first power is 5, and 5 to the second power is 25. So now, looking at the numbers I have got 1 25, so 1 times 25, plus I've got 2 5s, so 2 times 5, and then I've got 3 1s, so I take 3 times 1, and I'm going to add those together. So 1 times 25 is 25, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 1 is 3, and when I add those all together, I get 38. So 1, 2, 3 in base 5 turns into 38 in base 10. Okay, here's another example. The number 213 in base 4. So I'm going to have 213 in base 4, and I know that this would be the 4 to the 0 place, this is the 4 to the 1 place, and this is the 4 to the second place. Well, we know that 4 to the 0 is 1, 4 to the 1 is 4, and 4 to the second is 16. Okay, so now I've got 2 of those 16s, so 2 times 16. Then I'm going to add to that 1 4, and 1 4 would be 4. Then I'm going to add to that 3 1s, so 3 times 1. So when I go back and put these together, if I have 2 16s, that's 32. If I have 1 4, that's 4, and if I have 3 1s, that's 3. When I add all those together, I get 39. So in base 10, that number equals 39. All right, number 16 asks us to write the base 10 numbers 1 to 16 in base 2. So remember, in base 2, I'm going to put a few blanks here. This would be 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth. So 2 to the 1, this is the 1's place. 2 to the first, these are the 2's place. This is the 4's place. This is the 8's place. And these are the 16's. So if I take the number 1 in base 10, that's going to be the same as the number 1 in base 2. The number 2 in base 10, if you think about it up here, I would need to have 1, 2, and 0 1s. So in base 2, the number 2 is this. The number 3 in base 10, that would require me to have 1, 2, and 1, 1. So that would be 1, 1, base 2. The number 4 in base 2, I would need to add 1 to what I have already here, and that's going to change things a little bit. If I need 1, 4, then I'm going to look up here. I need 1, 4, and these will be zeros. So this is 1, 0, 0, base 2. The number 5 is pretty easy because I can just take this and add 1 to it. And base 5 would give me 101 base 2. The number 6, I'm going to need to add one more. I still need a 4, but then I can complete my answer if I add to it a 2, and this becomes 0. So that's going to give me 110 base 2. The number 7, when I look at that, I'm going to just need to add 1 here, and that's the number 111 base 2. And number 8, I'm going to need to bump up one spot because I'm going to need 1 8, and all the rest of these will be 0. So I have 1 0 0 0 base 2. For the number 9, I just need to add 1 to that, and that's pretty easy. I just add 1 to 8. Now for 10, I'm going to need an 8 and a 2. So what I do then is I'm going to put 1 8 and 1 2. That's how I get 8. So the other spots are zeros. So I need a 1 0 1 0 base 2. For number 11, I'm just going to add 1 to number 10 and get 1 0 1 1 base 2. Number 12, if you look at the numbers that we have down here, to get 12, I need an 8 and a 4, which means I'm going to erase these and put a 1 here, and the rest are zeros. So that's going to be 1 1 0 0 base 2. For 13, I just need to add 1 to that. For 14, if you think about it, for the number 14, I need an 8 and a 4, because that would be 12, and a 2, that would be 14. So I'm going to need to put a 1 here and a 0 here. So I get 1 1 1 0 base 2. 15, I just need to add 1 to that, and then our final number for 16, looking at our places here, to get 16, I just need 1 16, and the rest will be zeros. So I'm going to have 1 16, and the rest are zeros. So my answer for that one is 1 0 0 0 0 base 2. So every time you're trying to figure out a number, look at these and say, how am I going to combine these to get the number I'm after? For problems 19 through 24 on page 169, you have to go from base 10 to another base, and those are a little more complicated. So let's look at this one. I'm going to look at 417, and I'm changing it to base 5. So I'm going to just put some blanks out here to stand for some of the numbers. I don't think I'll need them all, but we'll put them down anyway. This is the 5 to the 0 place, 5 to the 1, 5 to the 2nd, 5 to the 3rd, and 5 to the 4th. So what do those represent? 5 to the 0 is 1. This is 5. This is 25. This is 125. And this is 625. That's the value of each place. So let's look at this number, 417, and what's the largest place that I'm going to need. I don't have any 625s. That's too big. So I actually don't even need this at all. So I'm just going to erase it. I can get 125 out of 417 because there are, looks like 2 or 3 125s that I can get out of 417. So to find out exactly how many, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take 417, I'm going to find out how many 125s will go in there, and I'm guessing it's 3, and I've got 375. So if I subtract, I have 42 left. So I'm going to put a 3 here because that's how many 125s I got. Okay, so now I need to take that 42 and I've got to say how many of the next spot, which would be 25, can I get out of 42? I'm guessing it's 1, but let's do the division. If I divide by 25 and I multiply and subtract, I'm going to get 17. So that means I got 125, so that becomes a 1. That's how many 25s I need. Now I'm going to take my remainder again, and it's 17. And now I need to see how many 5s I can get out of there. So I'm going to divide it by 5, subtract, and it looks like I got 3 5s to come out of 17, so this number is going to be a 3. Then I look at what's left, and that's the 1s. I've got 2 1s. Now if you want to, you could do the division again. You could say 2 and then divide it by 1s because I'm looking at the 1s place now, and 1 goes into 2 twice. So this would be my 1s and would go right there. So my final answer is going to be 3, 1, 3, 2, base 5. So for these problems, you need to first set up your places depending on the base. Then you're going to take your number here and you're going to divide it by the places until you find out how many of each you need. Okay, here's one last example problem. I'm changing the number 35 into base 2. So I'm going to make some blanks again like I did before. We're in base 2, so this is 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2nd, 2 to the 3rd, 2 to the 4th, and 2 to the 5th. And we'll just put one more here in case we need it, 2 to the 6th. So let's look at what the value is. This is the value of 1. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 2 to the 3rd is 8. 2 to the 4th is 16. 2 to the 5th is 32. 2 to the 6th is 64. Since my number is 35, I'm going to start right here. I'm not going to need 64 because that's too big. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. And I'm going to start with the 32s. So if I have the number 35, I need to find out how many 32s I can get out of that. So I divide. It goes in there once, and I get 3 left. So this spot here of 32s, I need 1 of them. So I'll put a 1 there. Okay, now I need to take my number that's left is 3. Now, 16 isn't going to go into 3. I don't have any 16s, so that's going to be a 0. I don't have any 8s. I can't get an 8 out of 3, so that's a 0. I can't get a 4 out of 3, so that's a 0. But I can get a 2 out of that 3. So I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 1 for my remainder and 1 for the number of times that 2 goes in there. So since this number is 1, I need 1, 2 for my number. My remainder is 1. My next spot that I'm looking at is the 1s place. So I need to find out how many 1s go into 1, and we know that the answer to that is 1. So this becomes a 1, which means the number 35 in base 2 is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1.